Kia ora, hello, g'day. I'm Philip Duncan from Weather Watch TV on YouTube with your Australia-only forecast through until Sunday. Let's take a look at the big picture at the moment, and windy weather is down here around Tasmania and coastal parts of Victoria. This is the wind map for later on Monday afternoon, and there's not a lot of wind really blowing across the country in an extreme way. A little brisk in some coastal parts of Queensland, a little bit windy here and there around parts of Victoria, New South Wales and South Australia, but the main wind is down here over Tasmania, Bass Strait, blustery conditions, especially closer to Hobart and some of the more extreme areas. It's not looking too problematic, but just you're on the edge of that kind of windy weather becoming problematic. So this is how we look on Tuesday afternoon. High pressure moving back in towards Tasmania. We'll start down there. Winds are going to settle down quite a bit after where they've been. Similar story around Bass Strait, although once you go further northwards into Victoria, coming off the mountains and ranges, there will be a bit of a brisk easterly wind. So that'll be a little bit gusty here and there. And a similar story for some other parts of New South Wales, especially inland, closer to the hills. On the western side of those hills, the easterly winds will be a little bit brisk. We've got a few showers spreading from the eastern side of Victoria up into the coastal sides of New South Wales. Won't be very much for the ACT, and a couple of showers also building up around coastal parts of Queensland and spreading a little bit inland, but nothing too major just yet, although you do have some rain on the way. Elsewhere on Tuesday, not a lot to talk about. A few isolated showers here and there around Western Australia and the Northern Territory. Otherwise, mostly dry, and certainly dry around South Australia on Tuesday. Now by Wednesday, there is a bit of life to the rainfall around the southeastern corner of Queensland. Some heavy falls across the day, especially as the day wears on. Now that colour shading shows 30 to 50 millimetres on the way. Some of you might be lucky enough to get a heavier downpour inland from Bundaberg, south of Rockhampton. Those are the areas likely to see some of the heaviest falls, especially on the sort of eastern side of the hills. Some of those downpours do come into the northeastern side of New South Wales. You've got a bit of a brisk north to northeasterly wind also blowing down there. That's going around the outer edges of that high that is now drifting over into the Tasman Sea. That's the reason why you've now got a milder nor'wester around parts of Tasmania. But over in Western Australia, some low pressure through central areas, producing a few showers into the afternoon. A lot of those showers will be missing the main centres, and we've got a few more showers up around the Kimberley. Easterly winds blowing further south down towards Perth, maybe an isolated shower. Into Thursday, so those downpours in Western Australia line up better. They're still mostly missing a lot of the main centres, but if you're lucky enough to be in the middle of that, you'll get a little bit of rain. Still seeing a few more showers further northwards as well. Otherwise, a big portion of Australia is dry on Thursday, thanks to that high pressure zone around the Great Australia Bight. That stretches all the way out into Victoria as well. Bit of a breeze through here, a southeasterly breeze, a little bit brisk in exposed places. Hopefully not too problematic. That all picks up further, obviously, as you go into Western Australia. Now let's talk about the showers in Queensland, because there are some heavy downpours. Both Wednesday going into Thursday, seeing those downpours around coastal parts in particular, but also pushing inland a wee bit. Northeasterly winds coming through here. On the coastal side, it might be a bit more easterly. So you're talking about another 20, 30, maybe 40 millimetres. So over a couple of days next week, or later this week, I should say, around Wednesday, Thursday this week, some of those areas could be seeing well over 60 millimetres. Just depends on if you're lucky enough to get a repetitive sort of downpour. I say lucky for those who need rain. If you don't want rain, hopefully you live further to the north or to the south, because most of this wet weather is north of Brisbane. Okay, into Friday, and down in Tasmania, the next cool change comes through. A southwesterly wind for you. Nothing too big in there, but the temperatures do certainly drop. Elsewhere, high pressure south of or over the Great Australian Bight is the main feature. It's the driving factor. That's the easterly flow pushing into Western Australia. Plenty of showers and downpours forming through the interior of Western Australia across the day, right across Western Australia. But once again, a lot of those downpours are missing the main centres. Kalgoorlie, Boulder area, maybe just on the outer edges of some of that wet weather. You do have some chances around Thursday. And also coastal parts of Western Australia. Remember the pale blue at the bottom of the scale here. So it means you've got the risk of a few showers. They'll be inland a wee bit. Most other places are dry. On the other side of the coast, over on the eastern side, more of those east to northeast winds producing a few showers for Queensland, otherwise dry. New South Wales looks dry, and much of Victoria as well. So Saturday, the high pressure zone drifts over the southeast. You've still got that cooler southerly flow around Tasmania. Now those southerlies are moving into, or the southerly airflow is moving into New South Wales, but the wind flow could be a northeasterly as this is still. But that change will come through. Temperatures will drop a wee bit, especially on the coastal side. You got a few showers there. In Western Australia, more downpours through the interior from the north to the south. Most of them, again, missing a lot of the main centres, drifting further over into South Australia by the time we get to Saturday. And we've got a few showers at the very top end of the country as well. Nothing too big in there either. Our final map is for Sunday, and the big picture shows basically high pressure parked over Tassie. That stretches all the way up to the northern parts of New South Wales. But on the outer edges of it, that's where you've got that wet weather pushing into Brisbane, Sunshine Coast, and further southwards into that coastal side of New South Wales. More interestingly, on Sunday are the downpours forming in the Northern Territory. Bit more widespread this time, and they'll be heaviest in the tropical north, and some showers also popping up in central parts of South Australia. But if you live in Victoria, the ACT or Tasmania, pretty dry conditions for you on Sunday. And that's all from me. We'll have a more detailed rainfall outlook coming up this Thursday with our 7-day rainfall forecast for Australia. So we'll catch you again then. Have a great week ahead.